Sagittarius, and welcome to my new channel, Misfits of the Zodiac. It came from some song lyrics from one of my songs, actually, and I wanted to do more with it because it just sounded super cool. So that's what we're doing. I'm finally getting around to doing this. I'm going to start by cleansing the space. I've done all the fire signs. You guys are the last ones of the day. So I'm ready. I'm ready for Sagittarius energy. You guys definitely I do really well with Sagittarius. They're just they're always fun. They're always keep me on my toes. So I'm excited to dive in. Today I'm going to be using the Green Witch Tarot, and we might dabble in a couple other oracle decks, maybe clarify with the Crow Tarot, but I'm mostly going to use my baby, which is the Green Witch deck. I will say I'm a practicing witch, so if that makes you feel uncomfortable, this is probably not the channel for you. But if you are okay with that, then you are more than welcome. I would love for you to subscribe or like or share this if this resonates with you. This isn't a one-to-one reading. This is a collective reading for all of my Sagittarius fam. So, all that being said, we're going to get into it. I will say, I started off with... I'm starting off this month, at least. This will be for the month of July, just so you know. And it will be for the entire month. I'm starting out this channel just doing monthlies for now. And if I can dedicate more time to this channel, then I would like to eventually do weeklies. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions about any of the decks, definitely let me know as well. But I'm going to start with my downloads. So this is basically, I do some meditation just before I start, and this is what I got for Sagittarius. So the first thing I saw was super cool, actually. It was like a chalice cup, and it was filling with water, and the water had glitter in it, and then it was overflowing. So the feeling that I got from this, usually cup represents water, the water element, which is your emotions. So this feels very much like your cup runneth over. It feels like this is going to be an exciting month for you. We'll see when we get to the tarot, but that you have something to celebrate. Like glitter is always fun, right? It's usually exciting. Something's going down. It could be something that you're celebrating that you just worked through, or celebrating a major event in your life, and it's filling up your cup. I also saw, what did I see? A key and a lock, and it was cool because the lock had light shining through the lock, and then the key was one of those cool old-fashioned keys. I love to wear them on my person because they're really good for path opening, or figuring out an answer to something. And they also are a representation for the goddess Hecate, which I work with her a lot. You'll see her actually in the back. You might not be able to see it, but I have a statue of her in the back. And the key was going into the lock, and the lock had a light in it. It was almost like you figured something out. You found just the right key for just the right lock. Or you've had the lock for a long time, but you haven't been able to find the key. You're figuring that out this month. That's the vibe that I got. I also heard the words beyond the veil. So usually that means it can mean a lot of different things. Beyond the veil could mean that you're looking below your subconscious. It could also mean that you're looking beyond what's given to you in the front, and what's the surface level, looking beyond that, taking the time to look past that for a deeper meaning or more information. And it didn't say look beyond the veil, it just said beyond the veil, which I thought was interesting. Also beyond the veil is, there are certain times in the year, especially for witches, where we kind of believe that the veil is thinner, usually around Samhain, which is Halloween for most people. And that's, it's kind of your ability to go to the underworld. It could mean that, meaning your subconscious, or going into shadow self. But the way that I saw this was like, almost like peeking behind the curtain, like in the Wizard of Oz, at the end of the Wizard of Oz, like, he's the great, powerful Oz, and then you look behind the curtain, he's just a man behind a curtain. So, like, the vibe was, you might be being given something on the surface level, and you're getting an intuitive hint to look behind the wall or behind the curtain. Do that, my friend. It seems like that's going to be key for you. Key. No pun intended. I also saw a zebra. So before we start, I'm going to pull from my animal spirit guides and just get some information about the zebra and see like what we can find out about the symbolism behind zebras. And then I also saw tally marks. Almost like when you do the tallies and then you do a slice through when you hit 5, like the 5th one is the slice. So I don't know if that's like you playing a game and you're keeping score, or like, I don't know what it was in reference to. All I saw was tallies. I don't know if you're like keeping score of something, or it could also mean that you're seeing something in someone and you're keeping record. You're like checking in with that and like going, this isn't the 2nd time or the 3rd time or the 4th time they've done this. This is like becoming a pattern. It's not just like a once or twice thing. It also could be for yourself, like you're noticing something within yourself that you're doing that's becoming a pattern that could be good or bad. So that is the vibe that I got. Okay, so before we start with the tarot, I'm going to look. I usually do bibliomancy with this, but so basically all that is like I'll shuffle through it and then I land on a page and that is the message that we're supposed to get. But because you got a specific animal, I already had this out just in case. I'm gonna just go straight to the zebra and we are going to get some information. Okay, zebra. You're looking at things with black and white or all or nothing thinking, with limits your choices, which limits your choices and flexibility. Regarding the conflict you're having with someone, it's better to work towards a compromise than staying stuck in a right versus wrong standoff. Be willing to question what you have up to this point considered to be your reality. That sounds very much like looking past the veil. And any illusions you may have subscribed to, and in so doing, you will expand your consciousness. So again, looking past the surface level, okay? In any situation where there's disagreement, rather being confrontational, try less direct methods, such as persuasion, agreeing to disagree, or taking a time out to gain a fresh perspective. You're about to discover some useful knowledge that has been hidden or obscured, which feels very much like the key going into the lock. Knowledge that will come to you without seeking, so simply be open to receiving it. Okay, so don't fight it. If you're getting something and you're getting an intuitive hit that is like your answer, test it, see if it works, you know. All right, so that being said, we're going to get into the tarot. I'm an intuitive reader, basically. I don't necessarily do like a Celtic cross, or I don't have like a designed setup that I do. I just go, and when the cards pop out like that, that's what I do. I take pop outs. That could change over time, but that's the way I've always done it, and that's the way I'm probably going to do it. So I go until it doesn't make sense anymore. In other words, I go until it feels, a lot of it. So this feels like that was supposed to go next, and then this one. I go until it feels like I'm supposed to stop. And then we can either clarify with other cards if we still need a little bit more depth. And we might do that because you're getting this like almost unconscious behind the veil kind of thing. So we might need to clarify. We'll see. We'll see what comes up. But I'm going to go with these until it feels like I should stop. And then we're going to go from there. If you are enjoying this reading, like I said, this is my first video for you guys on this channel. I would love to hear from you. If this resonates in the comments, I would love to hear from you. If you wouldn't mind subscribing so that you can get updates on when I release new stuff. Right now I'm doing one video for the month. So you'll get a monthly every single month if you are subscribed. And I would like to dedicate more and more time to this. Right now I have a couple of different gigs that I do. I'm a singer-songwriter and I produce my own music. I'm putting together an album right now, so we'll see how that goes. And I'm also a background actor, so I do background acting for TV. So you might have seen me in a couple shows, just hanging out in the background. I live in California and I live very close to Hollywood, so without doxing myself. Yeah, so I'm trying to, I would like to put more and more time into this, to be honest with you. My baby will always be the music, but my goal is to have this be a regular thing and be able to dedicate quite a bit of time to this. So if that sounds like something interesting and it resonated with you, I would love to hear feedback from you. That would be great. All right, I'm gonna go, I think we have one more, maybe two. This one didn't pop, but it feels like this one was supposed to come out. So I'm gonna take this one. I don't usually do that, but ooh, I'm feeling guided. Ooh, it's going flying out. Okay, we got two more that just fell. And I feel like that is it. That feels right. Okay, we're gonna stop there. Also, I'm going to do a quick, I don't know if I already did this, but I am going to do a quick cleansing of your space with some sound. Hopefully that's not too annoying for you guys. Okay, let's go. All right, so first card you got is the Wheel of the Year. So in this particular deck, this is showing the Sabbats for witches. This is basically a card that represents a cycle. Whether you are ending a cycle or beginning a cycle, usually when you're ending one, you're beginning another. So that's basically what this is referencing. It's pointing to Yule, which is like Christmas time. But I feel like this is basically just saying that you are coming up on the end of a cycle and you're about to begin a new one. And the reason that I'm certain of this is because your very next card is the Green Man, which in the normal tarot is the Fool, and he is the very, very beginning of a cycle. He's the first card in the hero's journey. So it looks to me like you're ending a cycle with the wheel and you are starting anew. The Wheel of the Year in the normal tarot is usually the Wheel of Fortune. So this can be some good luck coming your way. The Green Man is also a really good indication of something good coming because it's kind of like a fresh start, a fresh beginning. You're starting with a clean slate, okay? So very good cards to start off with. Your next card is the King of Athames. So basically in the normal tarot deck, this would be the King of Swords. So this is all about, in this particular deck, it's talking about usually like legal issues coming up. It could be you getting some information. I'm noticing he has like, he's opening a letter with the sword or with his little knife, okay? So he's getting some sort of like communication from someone. This could be you receiving, it could also be like a higher level of education. It's weird that that's coming to me because I don't usually get that feeling with this particular card, but it could mean that your new beginning is that you're literally about to start school. And this could be for any age group. This doesn't have to be younger people who are, you know, you would think would be in the normal school, you know, year. This could just mean like this is your sign to start. If you've been thinking about going back to school, this might be your sign to go back to school. It's also can be representation of getting clear about something. And you know, we were talking about getting past the veil. Getting clear about what's behind the veil, what's behind the curtain, I think will inform it will better inform you on what steps next to take. So excuse me, the King of Athames is like, it's all air energy, which is usually in the head. It's usually your mental state, right? So he's trying to get clarity about that, and it's the highest card for that. So it's the most amount of clarity before he's moving forward. So that is recommended at this time. The next card that you have is the Wild Hunt. So this is kind of challenging energy, I'm not going to lie. This is tower energy in the normal tarot. It's basically, it's good and bad, right? It doesn't always need to be bad though. The thing with this card is that typically the universe, your guides, whatever you believe in, they're trying to guide you towards something, right? They're trying to get you onto a path. And for whatever reason, you've been dragging your feet, or you maybe lost your footing along the way and you started going on a path that wasn't meant for you. The tower usually comes as like the last step in that process. In other words, they've tried to send information your way and you've ignored it, or you haven't seen it, or you've been blind to it. And then it just gets to the point where this tower has been built on shaky ground, and it's gotten to the point where you have to let it go. It has to all crumble because you have to start fresh. So again, going back to the Green Man card, this is talking about, starting anew. That typically happens after the tower card rather. So everything kind of has to break down because it's been built on a structure that's not sound, if that makes sense. So while on the surface that sounds scary and like, oh my God, and it's usually a shocking event that happens that kind of like forces you into that position. The good thing to always remember about the tarot is that it always gets better after you've had the tarot moment. I keep saying the tarot moment. That's so weird. The tower moment. Okay. So to give you an example, I had a very serious tower moment a couple of years ago. And the way I was taking care of my body, I wasn't putting myself first. I wasn't putting my mental or my physical health first at all. And I didn't have clear boundaries with people, and there were some toxic people in my life. And a tower came. Literally everything fell apart. Everything that I understood and that I was standing on, literally just it blew up in my face. And there was no other way but through. And from that, what I built from that, as a result of everything crumbling to the ground and literally like clearing my path, I was able to see what needed to change, and I started slowly rebuilding on a stable ground. Okay, so that's what this card is asking of you. Yes, it's usually an uncomfortable situation. This also could be just a surprise that comes out of nowhere. It doesn't always necessarily mean that your whole world is about to like crumble. Like, I don't want to sound like that. I'm just saying, like, it's usually a surprise, it's usually out of nowhere, and it makes a big impact and a big change in your life. So that's something to be mindful in the month of July. All that being said, your next card is the Nine of Athames. I really like the way that this card kind of expresses Nine of Swords energy, because there's like this cool little like bat here, okay? And bats usually represent you needing to face some sense of fear, but it's usually unwarranted fear. So you could be very much in your head about stuff right now, and you're seeking that clarity, but you're freaking out about stuff. And I am like I do this all the time to myself. I start getting in my head about something that's going well, or if it's not going well, and I start to catastrophize a little bit, right? So this is that card. It's basically saying you're up in your head about something, you're freaking out about something, but it's not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be, okay? Try to be like the bat. Go through it without fear. The bat also represents you're in the darkness right now. It feels like, again, very much that veil energy, like you're trying to like slowly like take steps forward to figure out where you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to be moving through the world. This is saying, keep going. You're on the right track. Don't get too caught up in your head, because your head, what your head is telling you is false. It's not something to be afraid of. And if you keep moving forward and you keep doing what you've been doing and you keep moving through the energy of that fear and you accept that there's fear there, but you keep moving, you will have clarity. It will eventually dissipate, because what you're afraid of is not actually there. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind. So that's your top row. Bottom row is, the first one is Six of Pentacles. So this is basically like accepting or receiving help of some sort. These people are exchanging gifts, okay? They're helping each other. This usually comes in the form of some sort of like, someone's offering you guidance or help or financial help. In some way, they're helping you. So be willing to accept that. Be cautious, because we're getting like this veil energy, and you want to make sure that you're, receiving from the right people. But again, with the fear thing, accept, if you trust the people that you're receiving the thing from, accept it, be grateful for it, and then move on. Okay? So that's the vibe that I'm getting from this. That's funny that I say, and then move on, because your next card is the Eight of Cups, Eight of Chalices in this particular deck. So the Eight of Cups is basically, this man is like looking at what he's achieved and where he's at, and he's not thrilled. He wants to move towards these grapes down here. He wants to move towards this different harvest, towards this new harvest, right? And he's leaving the old cups behind. He's leaving something in the past, okay? So this is usually comes up when you've been working towards something. This could be something emotional, because it's cups. Something that you're just not happy with. It doesn't serve you anymore. This is your sign to let it go. This is your sign to move on from it. This is your sign to like move past that energy, so you can go towards the grapes and maybe create wine from those grapes, and like ignore what has not been working and move on from it. He's discontent, and he's looking at ways to move on. He's also on the beach too. I got this for Leo. We got some beach imagery that came through in my downloads for them. And I'm kind of getting a little bit of that for you. One way to kind of get some clarity on things that I always personally recommend is getting near water. Whether that's taking a bath at home with some Epsom salt and kind of like relaxing and releasing any tension and releasing any like of the mental stuff you're getting with the Nine of Swords. Releasing any of that and moving through that energy by means of, if you can get to the ocean safely and you're close to an ocean, that would be great, because again, he's on the beach. All right. I know a lot of people say that like just hearing the waves and have your toes in the sand, there's like a visceral reaction that we have as humans. There's this weird like grounding and like freeing and I don't know, like this safety that's happening when you're near water. That it feels very like womb energy, if that makes sense. Kind of like you're being enclosed and kept safe. I just recently went to the beach with a friend, and it had been a while. It had been like a year since I had been to the beach. And I live close to the beach, but it took me quite a bit to get over there. But when I got there, I was like, I needed this so much more than I could have ever thought. Like, and I feel like if you can take the time to do that, even if it's just making a bath for yourself, you would be amazed at how much you will feel so refreshed when you get out. Okay. So huge hug if you're going through it right now, but this feels like it's calling for you to walk away from the past and what's not working and move towards higher ground is what I'm getting in my head. Move towards something that that feels right, and be okay with letting stuff go that is not working for you anymore. Okay. The cool thing is the next card that you got is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love this particular one. There's like this cute little ladybug on the top of her crystal ball. This is the Nine of Cups. It's the Nine of Chalices in this particular tarot deck. This is all about a wish coming true for you. So you're walking away from something that's not serving you, which is the Eight of Cups, into the Nine of Cups, which is really cool because this deck got very shuffled before I worked through getting ready for prepared for you guys for your reading. So it's always cool when I see like a step up, and the step up is for the better, because the Eight of Cups is kind of like more of a low vibrational card, and the Nine of Cups is literally a wish come true. So it seems like you're walking away from something into something brand new, fresh, something that fills up your cup, something that has been something that you've wanted for a long time. Okay. And the little ladybug is a representation of luck. So she's also in front of the fire, in front of the hearth, which is fire energy. It's all Sag energy. Okay. So keep that in mind when if you are getting in your head and you're stressed about what's going on. Remember that you're walking towards the Nine of Cups right now. If you can work through the energy and you can ground yourself and you can cleanse yourself and let go of things that aren't serving, it seems like the Nine of Cups is headed your way. So that's a really good sign. It's cool too because the next one is the Battle Wagon. So this is the Chariot card in the normal tarot. This is usually a sign of some sort of things have been challenging, and then you have a victory. Okay, so this is kind of like, this is a big victory card. It's also like speeding up of time, so things moving quickly. So you might find that your wish, your Nine of Cups, comes quickly after you let go of the Eight of Cups. Okay, and you walk away from something that's no longer serving you. So not only will you get the Nine of Cups, but it seems like shortly after you let go and you release everything, maybe with the Tower that's coming up, you're about to receive the wish. Okay, sometimes you have to clear the whole space though, so that it can happen, because we're blocking, there's something that's blocking you from that. Okay, don't get in your head about it though, just like move through the energy, be cognizant, look behind the veil. Okay, so the next card that you have is the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is, she's very much in her power. She's very content. This is someone, the wands usually represent your business or your work. If you're an entrepreneur, it's whatever you do to make money. Okay, so she's at the top of her game. She also, wands represent fire as well. So your fire sign, this is feminine energy that is coming through in fire. But she's gotten this place through hard work and determination, and it looks like you're headed in that direction. You're headed towards feeling content and feeling a sense of, I belong here and I've worked really hard to get here. Okay, so it seems like you're walking away from things that are no longer serving. You're having this new the Green Man energy, this brand new beginning, but you're gonna have to like clean up some stuff along the way. The King of Swords that we were talking about earlier, the King of Athames, could also be, again, clearing energy, like air is just wafting it out, just clearing it all out, and then the Tower comes and it crumbles everything down, and then you rebuild from scratch. That's another great thing. You don't want to build on a foundation that isn't stable, right? So acknowledging that when it happens makes it easier to transition through that heavier energy. And the last one is the Six of Cups. So the Six of Cups is usually reminiscing on good times. Okay, it is usually a very like, this could sometimes, a lot of people think of the Six of Cups as somebody coming back from your past. That could be the case. Especially with the energy of the behind the veil. If someone you haven't heard from in a while, all of a sudden out of the blue reaches out to you, might be good to like take a step back and go, what could be behind the surface level of what they're telling me that they're coming back into my life for. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Look beyond the veil when it comes to that. I'm not saying being skeptical of everybody, just be cognizant of other potentials besides what they might be telling you. Okay, but the Six of Cups also just might mean you're reminiscing at this time. You're thinking of good times. Okay. Again, sometimes when we have to let go of stuff, it's good to go through that energy. It's good to think about what we've had and what we're moving towards, okay? Because accepting and allowing yourself to appreciate where you've been and what you've gone through is good, because when you then move into the new space, you come with a fresh start. There's not this feeling of like, oh, I wish things could be like they used to be. You get excited about the way they are now, because the way they are now is like so much better than they used to be. You can still be reminiscent, you can still enjoy what you had before, but allowing for the space of the new to come in, working through the Six of Cups energy and looking at where you've been and acknowledging that is sometimes one of the best steps that you can take to like move to the better energy, move to the new energy, right? All right. That's the tarot. I feel very inclined to pull from my mermaid deck for you guys, because there's, again, a lot of water energy. You get a lot of cups, couple pentacles. I feel like there's a lot of emotional energy coming through, so I feel like we're going to pull from that, definitely. I feel like I'm going to start with that. I think I'm feeling drawn. I haven't done this one. I'm feeling drawn to my moon deck. So we might pull from that too. So first, I'm going to pull to kind of wrap this reading up. My first reading was sad. So excited. So we're going to do Sisters of the Sea. Okay. Male, female, it doesn't matter. This is more just the energy of femininity, but it's talking a lot about your water element. Okay. So your emotional side. So I'm going to pull from this, and then we've already looked at the animal spirit deck. You guys got zebra. Again, don't look so black and white about things. Again, look beyond the veil. Look beyond what's being given to you in black and white. Sometimes the King of Athames is also, in a legal matter, it's asking you to look at the fine details, look at the fine print. So if you're going through something legally, make sure you just do one more look over of everything. Obviously, this is not legal advice. I'm just throwing that out there. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. But that's just basically a reminder to like make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Okay, but looking for the fine print, fine details. If you're signing a contract, that's something to keep in mind. Again, look beyond the veil. Look beyond what is coming up. Ooh, you got two. Look beyond what is coming up. What is on the surface, okay? What is being handed to you is like, this is the thing. Don't just immediately assume that that's the answer. I don't want you to like be skeptical of everything this month, but just be aware of that's kind of, there's an energy of that happening, okay? So be aware of that. All right, you got two, like I said. So, the first one, hopefully I don't have any issues, because this is a little, a naked mermaid, but that's cool. I'm totally down for this, but I could potentially have an issue with that. Hopefully nobody like reports it or whatever, because that would be obnoxious. So you got, to whom was she given? And the other one was the arrival. It's cool. I've pulled from this deck quite a bit for myself, and I've actually never gotten either one of these cards. So that's really interesting. They were being charged with one of my stones that I use for mermaid energy too. So let's do the first one. To whom was she given? All right, so 20. Okay. So I'm going to hold this up so you can look at it while I talk. This mermaid is resigned to her fate. She is to be given in union to a being she does not know. And it seems she moves a bit slowly, and reluctantly to something she feels she must do. For her, there seems to be no choice, no other way. There are moments in life that seem inescapable, as if the choices of others, family, and culture carry more importance, or that they know better. And to keep their favor, we go through the motions. She feels vulnerable, and yet she is far from defeated. From the corner of one sea green eye appears a route, looking beyond the veil, offers an alternative, looking beyond black and white. She begins to see that within every seeming inevitability, there is a choice. She has glimpsed the possibility of what she can make of this fate, and she will bend destiny to her own vision of how her life shall unfold. The Tower. I keep saying tarot. That's so weird. The Tower, and then rebuilding. Okay? Like you do at times, she seems obedient. She seems to accept, but she does not, and nor do you. For this mermaid is in the deepest form of rebellion, the one where all her powers and intelligence align in the creation of a life of fulfillment. Even while it seems all paths lead her to a place of restriction, she will not be bound. She will find her freedom, and she will create a better world for herself and for others like her because of the action she takes. This is the possibility before you. You may give in for now, but you will never, ever give up. That feels very much like the Green Man, starting a new cycle, beginning from fresh after your Tower, and then getting your Nine of Cups, getting that wish, right? Okay? So, allowing yourself to see other people's perspective, but looking beyond the veil so you can find your own way. Figure out what works for you, not necessarily listening to what everyone else is saying, okay? Again, back to that Six of Cups energy. If somebody comes in and they start telling you, like, hey, you should do things this way, or you should do things that way, and they're a friend or family member that's known you for a really long time, be aware of how it makes you feel internally when they offer that advice. If it feels right, then go with it. If it doesn't, check in with yourself, okay? That feels very like King of Athames, checking in and making sure that it makes sense for you, okay? And then the Arrival, that's the other one that you got. And that number is 44. I like to say that just in case those numbers stand out for you for whatever reason, if you can see them. So you got 20 and 44. 44, the Arrival. Okay. And when you reach the place you have long dreamt of, what will you do? The mermaids want you to imagine what the possible outcomes could look like, and to explore what you may feel like when you get there, to this place of yearning and longing. For often, when we are amid the seeking, we are fully engaged with the stretching and reaching for where we wish to be, for what we wish to have. Not so much feeling or thought is placed behind who we wish to be when we get there. Now that the arrival is upon you, the mermaids want you to spend some time feeling your way into it, preparing yourself for your responses and reactions. Whatever the longed-for destination was in your life, you need to consider what you will do when you can say, I am here. I have done this thing so many said was impossible. Will you take a breath and feel out what the journey has changed about you? Will you feel into who you want to be? How will you express what is undoubtedly a success? The mermaids want you to know they have cheered you on, singing you into the spaces and places that have brought you to this achievement. But now they want to hold up their mirrors and ask, who are you? Now that this desire has been fulfilled. This feels very much like checking in with your shadow self, and you might want to look into that. What will you do with your good fortune, and how will this shape you? And it will always sculpt a new kind of life. The arrival is not everything, but it is very good to have reached this space, to to reach this place. So celebrate and ponder and become. And that actually feels like the celebration part. The cups in the very, very beginning, they said, when I got that like download of like the cup and like the glitter in the water, it feels to me like spirit, your guides, whatever you believe in, is asking you to look beyond the veil, look beyond the surface for your own feelings of what feels right to you, and go with that, because that's what's going to fill your cup, not what everyone else is telling you to do. And that seems very like surface level, which is funny because we're talking about the veil. But checking in with yourself and making sure that it makes sense to you and it feels right intuitively feels very important for you this month. So it sounds though like you're on the precipice of getting everything that you wanted, like getting everything that you've been hoping for. But staying true to yourself is going to get you there, not listening to everyone else. And you can get and receive help from other people, but make sure there's no strings attached, if that makes sense, okay? And that's, again, looking past the veil, making sure that they're doing it to actually help you, and not that they're looking, saying like, hey, I did this for you, so why don't you do this for me? I hope that makes sense. I feel like that wrapped things up pretty well. I was going to pull another card, but to be honest with you, I feel like that feels very full circle. You started with the end of a chapter and the beginning of another, and it feels like you're about to go through some challenging energy. But as long as you keep the faith, you don't let fear overtake you, you allow for yourself to accept help when you need it, you let go of things that don't serve you right now, and you move towards what makes sense for you, you're going to be good. So don't get too up in your head about it. I know that can be hard sometimes, so have compassion with yourself. But that's what I have for you guys. I'm so excited. This is when I did all the fire signs. So we are officially done. Like I said, I'm going to be at least doing monthlies right now, and I'm going to attempt in the future to do weeklies. That's my goal. But like I said, I'm still maneuvering a bunch of stuff right now. So if I can get away with it, then I will. Maybe I'll do like halfway, maybe mid-monthly. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely let me know. If this resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I'm so glad to start the Misfits, and I'm glad that I'm going to start creating a community of Misfits. I just feel like it just fits with me. So I hope this resonated with you. If you have any questions, or you have any questions about any of the decks that I used, or the book again that I used before was Animal Spirit Guide, so that might be something that you might be interested in. And I might start linking the decks below. We'll see how this channel unfolds, but right now it's still in its experimental phase. So if you have any ideas, let me know, and I'll take what I need and leave the rest. But hopefully you took what resonated with you and you leave the rest. And I wish you all the best, Sag. And yeah, have a great July, guys. And I'll see you next month. Okay? Bye.